Hey, what's up everybody? This is Kevin Johnson. Thanks for joining me here at Midwest Woodcraft. Today I'm out here finally getting active on YouTube again. It's been a long time since I've seen you guys. Thanks for sticking with me through the drought of activity here. But I'm out on a beautiful day. It's the end of February. We got the mid 40s today, nice and sunny. Not that the cold weather usually stops me, just had some stuff going on. I haven't been able to get out for a while. So appreciate everybody kind of sticking with us during the activity, like I said, and hopefully we're putting an end to that here. So I'm out here on my buddy's property and gonna do an overnighter. And first time I've ever done an overnighter on this property. I have been out here several times over the years doing some projects and things like that, but I've never stayed the night over here, never actually set up an actual camp here. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna find us a spot, we're gonna set up a camp for an overnighter. So I did a poll last night on the Midwest Woodcraft Facebook group. If you're not a member over there, get over there and check that out. I'll put a link to the link in the description down below for you. But I did a poll and put a few options of how to where the members could choose how I start the campfire today. And I had a few options on there: flint and steel, on-site bow drill, one stick, split wood fire with a ferro rod, things like that. And my good buddy Rob over at Campcraft Self-Reliance didn't let me down. He put up an option there, and he chose napalm. So everybody started voting for napalm, and ended up like a runaway train taking the win. So that's what they want, that's what they get. I did some research. I'm not a napalm expert by any means, but I ran over to the Dollar General, grabbed a few things, made up some quickie napalm. Tested it out last night. It was pretty impressive. So that's how we're going to start our fire today. Brought that with me. I got it in the monster pack back here. Just an overnighter, and I'm not really hiking in that far. I just brought a ton of stuff with me because I want to have a good time. It's been forever since I've been out in the woods and been able to stay out into the woods. So I brought everything plus the kitchen sink with me. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Stay with me. We'll see what we can get done. Walking along this logging road here, there's a lot of resources, a lot of stone, some pretty large pieces of stones, medium pieces, quite a bit of quartz and chert along through here. I haven't really been hunting it today, but in the past I have found quite a bit in this area. So we're working our way down into the bottoms. In this area you get a lot of this here. This is cracked cap polypore. Grows a lot around here on the black locust trees, pretty exclusively. The black locust is a pretty cool tree. It has thorns on the branches up above. This particular one here, if it's not dead, it's pretty much mostly dead. It is a heartwood fungus, so that will be killing the tree as it grows. But behind this real rigid bark, first of all, this bark's real thick, a lot like cottonwood bark. So if you can find a chunk of this, that actually makes a really good bearing block for a bow drill set. For some reason that doesn't break down, and the top end of the spindle won't burn into the fibers of that near like it will a piece of wood. I don't know really the science behind that, but it works out pretty well. So try that sometime. You can do it with that or with the cottonwood. Like I said, I'm sure there's other trees as well with real thick bark like this. Also, and under this thick outer bark and the inner bark, the cambium layer is real fibrous and stringy. Makes great cordage, great tinder. So if you find one of these blown over and snapped off, you dig through there and find some of the cambium layer, the inner bark layer in there, and it makes really good. It's a really good resource for tinder and for cordage. So definitely have your eye out for that. That fungus up there we were talking about also is a really good coal extender. So you can use it with solar really well. You can use it to transport an ember. Put your ember into that and it will sit there and smolder for a while. Really good stuff. So this tree is a pretty good tree for fire all around. The wood burns hot, real straight grained, easy to split. So black locust is actually a pretty good resource when you're out in the woods. You can probably see here we got a pretty good game trail going through here, so I need to be aware of that as well. When I'm setting my camp up, I don't want to be right on the game trail. In this particular case, it may be a little bit difficult not to be near the game trail, but I want to do my best to avoid being right on or right near the game trail if I can help it. Right here near that game trail, we have some more animal sign. We have some deer scat here. So when I'm out, I always like to keep my eye out, not just for where I'm camping, but for the resources around me. That includes plants, trees, animals, whatever the case may be. Along the trail here, got us a jawbone. I don't know if that's a raccoon or a possum or what, but bones and teeth can be a good resource. So once again, keep your eyes open. Alright, so I found us a little nook to tuck into here. It's not the most perfect spot in the world, but it's on the high side of the creek here. Up them two larger trees. There's a smaller tree in the forefront, and then the two space trees behind that. That's where I'm going to hang my hammock. And then down in this flatter spot, I'll have a fire and kind of sitting area. The creek's over here. A little closer than what I'd normally like to camp, but I'm kind of running out of time. And want to get going. I found a nicer spot down that way, quite a bit further, but I'm not sure that that's on my buddy's property, so I want to make sure of the property line and everything before I go set up a camp down that area. So if I get the okay, that's probably where I will go next time. But for now, I'm just going to set up a quickie camp here, get the hammock set up, get our napalm fire going, and just chill out, cook some food, maybe work on a few traps. I got a couple traps that I want to work on. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a pack hook. I'm going to make a hook just to hang my backpack on. That way it's not just sitting on the ground. There's still pretty damp and wet and soggy around here. Everything's thawing out, snow's melting, everything's getting pretty wet. So this is a honeysuckle bush, highly invasive to this area. I actually recommend that you eradicate it if you can. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a saw and just cut off this branch right here, leave this part of the fork, and I can just hang the loop of my backpack on there. I have this, never can pronounce the name, Coughlin's, I guess, Coughlin's Sierra saw here, just a cheapy folding saw. I normally use the Baco Laplander for a folding saw, but I was trying to build some kits for classes. Whenever I have these beginners classes, we have a little bit of an issue. People don't know what gear they need to bring, which is fine, and we try our best to loan out gear to people whenever they're lacking gear, missing gear, or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to try to set up a couple of dedicated kits to hand out to people when they come to the classes who don't have the gear to be able to effectively take the class, you know, or to have an actual good time while they're taking the class. A lot of times if you're struggling with every single task because your tools are lacking, you don't have the item or don't have the right item, it can make, you know, something that normally would be fun, it can make it kind of you know, abysmal task. So that's kind of the goal right now, putting together some kits to loan out for students during the classes. And I just kind of want to test out this saw. I don't really know anything about it. I don't know how to lock the darn thing or nothing. Looks like it's got this metal tab here. When you bring it down, you kind of got to lock it on there like that. Here, I don't even know if I was on a camera. So I really don't like that. It's kind of janky. Otherwise, it just kind of flops around and it's dangerous. So that's already one strike I see. But we'll see how she cuts. It says that it cuts on the pull. Seems to cut real nice. Of course, it's brand new and this stuff's really soft, but it cut through it like butter. So we'll be using that a little bit in this video, kind of checking that out, testing it out, see how it works. I already don't like that lock though, so we'll see if it can make it past the first strike. But it's a cheapy saw, like I said, less than $10. I got it at a local field and stock store, kind of like a You know, just basically a tractor supply or farm at home or whatever you want to call it. But my good buddy John Dosh, he has a mini one, a mini Sierra saw he carries in his trapping kit. And he's always said really good things about it, so I want to check it out eventually too. Anyhow, we got our pack hook here. We're just going to hang monster pack right there. That way it's up off the ground, nothing's getting wet. We're damp down the bottom, so there's our first task. Alright, now let's get that hammock up. That was a snap, but seriously, just took a few minutes, stuck the hammock up there, got my snug pack under blanket on there, got my intermediate bag for my MSS, got the Gore-Tex bivvy, just in case it does happen to rain. I'm not going to throw a tarp or anything up tonight. Got crystal clear skies, no rain or anything in the forecast or on the radar when I checked, so just going to roll with that, man. I'm going to take the lazy way today, just relax a little bit and take it easy. Looking forward to the next part. We're going to get that fire going, so stick with me. Kiddo's got me this cold steel shovel, and this is going to be the first time I've actually got to try it. The paint's not even scratched on it, so that's kind of my goal today, was to get out here and get it dirty, so I didn't have to be embarrassed whenever I got it out, and especially down at Campcraft. Take shiny gear down there, man, them guys are pretty rough on you. Alright, so before I get started here, I just want to give a little disclaimer. If you're going to mess around with stuff like this, just be real careful. You know, make sure you're doing your research and you're doing whatever steps you possibly can to keep yourself safe. This stuff, last night when I tested it out, burned really hot. I made just a small amount, and it's just acetone mixed with some styrofoam cups. And I just kind of made this plastic slime. I'm just going to kind of mix it up a little bit because the acetone looks like it's separated from it a little bit. Now again, I'm no expert on this stuff, so I don't know if this sitting overnight is going to make it not work. See, it's like a slime. Don't really know what's going to happen, so let's just hope that it does work and we get our fire going here. Just going to take some of them smalls. I'm going to glob this stuff, just kind of let it snake around here. Again, I don't think I need near this much, but put a little bit on this stick here. Lit right up. Make sure the camera was rolling, which I should have done before that, huh? I don't know if you can hear it sizzling. It's sizzling pretty good. I'm going to try to stay out of the smoke. Real strong flame. Well, let's let that go for a while. I think it's going to be sustainable pretty quick. That stick caught pretty much instantly. I don't know if you can see that. Pretty cool. Alright, so once again I'm going to pick on this honeysuckle bush, because it kind of has what I need here, I think, anyway, to make a trap that I've been wanting to make for a while now. So, just utilize this resource that really shouldn't be here, and see if it works out. Might be too soft, I don't know. Hopefully it works. Okay, so this is what I came up with, and this is by no means a perfect setup. The first time I've ever made this, and I'm doing it mostly from memory. So we're doing it all from memory, so I couldn't remember exactly how the noose went or anything like that. So what I've come up with is I got my perch set in there to where I'm hoping it's just like a hair trigger. As soon as it's touched, it's going to fall. Then I've got my noose sitting up here, as you can see, hanging from this branch. Well, it's not really a branch, this nub from a tree up here. And then I took and cut a couple of notches in here, just real shallow notches. The string was really hard to get to sit in there, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to obstruct the way the noose was to fall. I wanted it to be able to slide over the edge here very easily. So I just made it as shallow as I possibly could to make it still work. And then just hung it here, and then what's supposed to happen is when the bird flies in to land on this perch, this snare, as this perch falls, the bird will kind of try to fly away and it'll get caught up in the snare. So your bird's going to come in, that's going to fall. Of course he's going to fly off. He's not going to go like fall straight down, but he's going to struggle, hopefully get caught up in your snare, and then you're going to have eventually tire out. You're going to have a bird hanging here. Now with this loop here, this loose loop, the way I have it here, it's probably not going to work too good with this bird that's struggling, because it's going to be able to back off. So I would recommend rolling that over like a figure 8 if you're going to use it practically. I'm going to work with this some, and I'll probably shoot a more detailed video on it as I get a little bit more experience and get all the bugs kind of worked out of it, because it seems pretty neat to me. It seems pretty practical. You can set it with or without bait. It's good for setting around like water sources, food sources, and things like that. So birds are very curious. They like to perch. So if you give them an opportunity to perch, you know, they're going to take it. So I actually really like this one. It seems pretty practical to me. So I'm going to work on this a bit more. So stay tuned in the future maybe for a full video on this one. Well, I don't want to mention any names, but somebody forgot the chicken. So it's going to be Spanish rice and bacon tortillas tonight. Which, although kind of odd, doesn't sound like a bad thing. what's happening, guys. Getting dark on me. Got my belly full. Been working on a project. Kind of lost track of time. Working on a variation of the Ojibwa bird snare. I don't know how well you can see that there. But for those of you who are familiar with the Ojibwa, you know normally you have to carve a hole here in this vertical stick or post stick in order to make the trap work. Well, in this variation here, you just kind of cut a slot. I did that with that Sierra saw, and it seemed to work out pretty well. I just saw the slot in there, kind of squared out the bottom. And here I have a piece of horseweed. Excuse me, I'm kind of blind because I got the smoke in my eyes and I got my headlamp strapped to the front of the tripod there. It pointed right at me. But I got that carved square to where it'll fit into that notch. So it kind of does the same thing as having that hole, only you just have this slot. Now, I have not tried this for myself yet, so I'm going to finish this up in the morning and test it out. We'll do that together and see how that works out. I also would like to build a pot hook for the coffee pot for in the morning. So, I don't know, I may wander around, find stuff to do that here close to camp. See if I can anyway. If not, we'll do it first thing in the morning. Not sure how well you can see this here, but I've been working on the pot hook. I've got the adjustable pot hook here. Works out pretty nice. Take a better look at it in the morning, but I can lower it. Lower it down low. Raise it up high. And spin it around. So, really like this style of pot hook. Works out really nice. So looking forward to using that in the morning. It's a little after 4 in the morning. I got up about a half hour ago or so and stoked up the fire. Was messing around a little bit and then looked at the time and realized, man, I'm on vacation. I'm going back to bed. So haven't really gone back to bed. Just kind of been laying here looking at the stars, watching the fire. Got a pretty nice fire going, so I just thought I'd check in with you, say good morning. So, good morning. Alright, here it is a few hours later. I ended up passing back out in the hammock and woke up about a half hour ago. Got the started getting the fire stoked up and kind of wandering around a little bit. I wanted to test out the new pot hook here. Get this coffee on. Oh yeah. Well, the important tasks are in the process. Important task number 1, got the coffee done. Now I'm working on the bacon. Oh man! And there, see, now we're not even disappointed about the eggs anymore. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, breakfast is served. Okay, so here, this is what I got. You can see I just have a post. It's probably about a little over 5 feet tall before I jammed it into the ground. And then you can see, almost ran right into it, I have my perch here. Now this perch I made out of horseweed, a horseweed stalk. It's really light, easy to carve, and so far just from testing and messing around, it works out really good. It allows me to set the super hairy or super light to where as soon as you barely touch this thing, it pretty much goes off. So you can see here we have a slot sawn in there with our perch stick stuck into. Normally with the Ojibwa you have to carve a hole through that post, and depending on your experience, it can be difficult depending on the wood you're working with and things like that. So far the trap went together really well. So another thing I want to point out is this weight on the back. You can see I just have this small piece of a branch for a counterweight. You really don't need a ton of weight. Most of these birds you're going to be going after, especially one this size, is going to be a smaller bird. So if I use a big giant rock or a big giant log on there, it's just going to cut that bird's foot off with that small diameter cordage. You're going to have a pissed off bird flying around, and you're not going to have breakfast. So we don't want to hurt any animals. We want to be as ethical as possible. Try to avoid and minimize either catching non-target animals or injuring animals needlessly. Something I did forget to point out earlier is I carved a point in the top of this post here, and that's to minimize the chance of that bird coming in and landing right on top of that post. That would be my luck, as if I spent the time to make this trap, had it all set up, had it in the right spot, the bird would come and land right on top of here and would render the rest of my trap useless. That would totally be my luck. And then the dang bird would probably knock the stick off whenever it took off, just to rub a little bit of salt in the wound. So the point is to kind of minimize the chances of that happening. I got this set up about 6 or 8 feet away from a creek. My hope is that if a bird's coming in to get a drink, they're going to see this perching area. They're going to want to stop, check the area out, make sure it's safe to proceed down to the creek. They're going to see this perching opportunity right here close to the creek, and they're going to try to land here, and boom, get caught in my snare. So the bird's going to come in. He's going to be coming pretty fast, so I'm not going to just come in and grab it like this, because it's all going to happen really fast, and that's what kind of makes the snare work. That bird's going to come in, it's not going to realize that this is going to drop out, so it's almost going to fall, kind of free fall for a second, hopefully. It's going to be coming in, it's going to expect a nice solid landing. That landing's not going to be there, so it's going to take that bird a split second to recorrect itself and get its wings flapping again. So as it comes down, it's going to get caught like so, and then this weight, you can see I can easily pull this back and forth. A bird is not going to be able to do that so much. But I have noticed with this slot does present a problem here. You see that? That's the hole being in there is kind of nice because it keeps that from happening. So I think what I would do, setting this up in a practical application, if I was going to use it this way, I'd either jam a stick in there to keep that from popping out, or I would just lash some cordage around there a few times just to keep this from bouncing out of that slot. But the slot seems to work pretty well. Well guys, unfortunately my time here has come to its end. Reality is calling. I know that happens to us all. We're all out here enjoying ourselves out in the woods. We got a good fire, we're soaking up the good life, and then we got to go back to reality. But that's okay. We'll take the good with the not so good, those frustrating days at work, those times fighting traffic, and just being frustrated with the daily grind is what makes times like this, times like spending time with your family and friends, all that more special. So we got to take the good with the not so good. As always, I really appreciate you guys coming along. I didn't quite get all the projects that I wanted to done, but that's okay. We were just relaxing, having a good time, enjoying ourselves. As always, if you like what you've seen here, click like, hit subscribe, leave us a comment down below. We always enjoy hearing what you have to say. I'm Kevin. Hope to see you in the woods real soon.